Hello, I am Ragnarok, and welcome to the Reckoning. So today we are back with the next in the series for the Magics, the Magic rework for the Age of Calamitous mod for Conan Exiles. This video is going to be about the Arcane Magic. So it's been a little while since, about half a week since the last video came out, which was the Air Magic video, if I remember right. There has been, all the videos prior, we were working in the actual, the patch that just released over the weekend, or the last weekend, depending on when I'm releasing this video. So we were actually working on the dev patch. So there was a couple slight changes that were made between the Air Magic video and this video. So we're going to mention that in this. Also, some of the changes we're going to mention here, as far as like the light attack powers, the animations, and some of the mats and stuff like that, will actually also be reflected on those videos. So just keep that in mind. Some of the light attack stat numbers are going to be a little different. Most of the numbers are correct. The back end numbers are correct, except for the heavy attacks, I think, in the first two videos. I'll make notes of those in the actual comments of those videos. But everything else is pretty much the same. Any numbers that you can see on the actual magics themselves that might have changed from that video to what you're seeing in the game, those are the only numbers. None of the rest of the behind the scenes stuff is the same. As far as where to find the magics and how they work and all that, like that's all the same. So just keep that in mind as we're going through the video. But we will go over the newest stuff because the newest patch has dropped, and we have a lot of things to go over. So let's do it. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to go over the requirements for the Arcane Magic. Now, this is one of the things I actually missed in the previous videos. It was pointed out to me, so I want to make sure I cover it in this one. In order to learn the magics, you also have to learn the ancient arts. It's one of the things that was added in the most recent patch, if I remember right. I don't think it was in the patch before, but either way, it's in there now. So the ancient arts, you actually learn from the Grand Maguses. You can only talk to the Grand Magus that is particular to the faction that you have joined, and there's only Grand Maguses for the magical factions. So that's the other restriction, is magic is faction locked. So there are only 3 magical factions: Felgarth, Elvenor, and the Cold Embrace. So you have to join one of those factions. Then you also have to learn right here, you can see the ancient arts. It's a free, there's no cost to it or anything like that. It's the same place you learn fire magic. If the Elvenor one's in the same location, the Cold Embrace one's in the Cold Embrace Sanctuary. If you watch the fire magic video, you can see where all the Grand Maguses are. But you have to make sure you learn ancient arts in order to learn magics. The next requirement is going to be, you have to be level 60. So each of the magics, except for fire magic, have a level requirement. We've released the videos in order of that requirement. So level 1, then level, I think it was 30, 40, and now Arcane Magic is the next you can learn as you level through the game, which would be level 60. So you have to be one of the 3 magical factions, you have to have the arcane arts, and you have to be level 60. Those are your requirements right now. Now, as far as where you learn Arcane Magic, I'll show you on the map where we are. I'm going to scroll in. We're right over here by the Ice Spire Chasm. And if you see, we have this little rock right here, and what you want to do is this V right here. You can kind of see my character things right over it, but you're basically going to the very tip of the V, and that's where you're going. But if you need a little bit more reference, I'm up top right now. The volcano's that way. The obelisk is right there. That's one of the vanilla obelisks, if I remember right. Or is that the Age of Calamitous one? I can't remember. But either way, you're just going to drop down. You're probably not going to drop down. I have God mode enabled just for the sake of the video so I don't die. But what you'll more likely do is you'll probably just run around down here and stuff. But either way, it's in that little V. There's a cave. Go up to it. Ooh, pretty. Talk to it. Got some nice little lore right there, some information. Make sure you read all that. Okay, so the next thing we need is the Tome of the 8 Arcane Arts. So we're gonna get that in the Midnight Grove, I believe. I always forget what the dungeon's called, but either way, you have to. It's one of the vanilla dungeons. It's over here near the den, the little oasis thingy. You gotta talk to this dude. You get some mats, get some potions. There's plenty of videos how to get into it. Midnight Grove, I believe it's called. Once you do that, you drink the potion. And maybe we'll do a video. Actually, if you're interested in some like vanilla tutorials, obviously majority of our videos, except for our playthroughs, cover vanilla stuff also. But a lot of our majority of our guides and stuff like that only cover the Age of Calamitous. Obviously, there's always some overlap with vanilla stuff too. But if you're interested in seeing some vanilla videos, even some quick ones like how to get into the Midnight Grove, you know, where to get this armor, where to get star metal, stuff like that, like basic videos, let me know in the comment section. I'm kind of curious. I've posted the question a couple times in the Discord community. Seems like people are interested, but I'm just curious like how much people are interested. So, but either way, this is the actual vanilla dungeon, and I'm not gonna, it's a pretty long dungeon and it's a little bit of a maze. There's a couple ways to get to the end, so I'm not gonna actually show this part. We're just gonna skip right forward to the end. So the Tome of the Arcane Arts is at the end of the dungeon, right here. We'll go up here a little bit just so you can see. I'm not gonna go through this because then I'll be locked inside unless I portal out, but that's where the where you want werewolf, where hyena boss is, right there. It's where the big Jabal-Sog guy just kind of moves around and stuff. So it's right before the last portal. And right here in this big little grove, right to the right, you're going to see the Magus of the Arcane Arts. You can talk to him, and you can have a little conversation with him if you want. He has a nice little dialogue. Otherwise, you're going to buy one tome for 100 Arcane Essence. Now, this is one of the things I did see in the comments after the first video. Sometimes I test things out in dev releases, and my bad, I should be a little more thorough, but I don't go through and check once it's fully released. So sometimes there's times where small pieces of information are slightly changed. Anytime anything big's changed in a dev patch, I do find it. But sometimes there's something really small like that I might miss. But I did see in the comments in the first video, I think it was the Fire Magic video, people were saying you only need one tome. I was saying you should buy a couple. The tomes don't get used up when you craft magic. So I did see it in the first video, unfortunately, and then I saw it in the second and third video. And I appreciate people being very thorough and letting me know. The only reason I didn't change the information in the first, second, and third videos is because I filmed those pretty much all like back to back within like a 48-hour period. So by the time there were comments left on the first video, I already had those three recorded, and it was just for such a small piece of information. I figured it was just easier to just mention it in the next video, which is this video. This is the first video being recorded after those comments were left in the first one. So I apologize for the little lack of information there. Most people I figured would just figure it out anyways when they buy one. I mean, the mats really, this is the first one that has mats that are kind of considerable. All the other ones were like, you know, bees and stuff like that. Like there's a small amount of stuff that really wouldn't cost you if you bought three. It's like, well, I 5 minutes of grinding. But either way, you only need one tome. It doesn't get used when crafted, so just buy one tome. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna go to feats. We're gonna go to our weapons menu, and this is where all your magics are gonna show. So as you learn your magics, they'll be here, and you're just gonna learn them as you go along. Now we can skip this one. This one's one of the hidden spells. We'll show how to get that when we get to that. But basically, as you can see right there, first one's level 60. Then you're gonna learn your next version of Arcane Magic 80. Your next spell at 82, because you get your first spell in this one right here. So 82, 100, 110, and then 120 for the highest level. So that's your progression currently. Here is your Arcane Sanctuary. So it's handcrafted. Those are the mats. Pretty nice. I'm still going to say currently out of the four we've done, the Earth Magic one's my favorite, followed by I'd probably say the Air Temple is probably my second. This is my third. Fire Magic's probably my least magic out of the fourth so far. I'm sure I'll revamp those once we do the Blood Magic video, which is going to be the last one. But this one, if you're Elvenor, this is a perfect one. I mean, obviously you can see I made the Elvenor Arcane Vaults right here. Same color, same purple, or whatever, pink, purple. Same design on stones. I mean, it fits perfectly line in line. I probably could have put these right between the two vaults, and it probably would have looked a little better. But either way, nice. So just like with all the other magics, the Thrall that goes into it is the Keeper. You're only going to find Keepers in the magical factions. So Felgarth, Elvenor, Cold Embrace. They look pretty cool. They fit in kind of place, actually, since this looks very Elvenor-ish. There you go. We'll put an Elvenor Keeper in there, just so to keep with the theme right now. But either way, Keepers are just like any other Thralls. You're only going to find them. You're not going to find like a Vangul Keeper. You're going to find them in the magical factions. You're going to find them most likely at legendary camps. I haven't really tested the respawn rate on them yet, or the spawn rate on them, so I'm not sure if they're low spawns like some of the other more rare ones. You will have to just just keep going through the legendary and regular camps, and eventually you'll get one of these guys to spawn in. So maybe they're super common. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to test that out. I'll probably test that out in a future video. But either way, those are the thralls you're going to want to go with. Also, every magical station has a fuel that is specific to the magical station. So as you can see with and guess by the artwork around the Arcane Sanctuary, we are going to go with the Amethyst. So burn times, I am on a vanilla server, one time fuel burn. 10, we're going to do amounts of stacks of 10. Rates, I believe, should be pretty similar. I think the uncut one's a little longer than the rest of the uncuts. Yes, so 5 minutes for the 10 uncut on a vanilla. Shards, I think this is exactly the same. Yep, 21 minutes, 40 seconds. And 1 hour, 23 minutes. So everything's, the two higher ones are actually the same fuel burns as all the other gems in the magical stations, but the Amethyst, or the uncut one, is actually a little longer. Now, though that might be changed. In my opinion, the Amethyst burn time should probably be increased. And the only reason I say that is because Amethysts are a lot harder to get. Even though in the most recent patch, all gems were made harder to get, lower drop rates, so you have to grind a lot more to get them. Unless you grind them from faction camps currently. That will eventually, I'm sure, be balanced also. But Amethyst, because they're harder to get, should probably have a higher burn time. But I'm not sure if that's one of the things you can change. I would think so, since the uncut gives you 5. It gives you 5 minutes instead of whatever the other ones do. I can't remember off the top of my head what those burn times are. But that is the fuel for the Arcane Sanctuary. Next thing to go over is the spell, how the magic system works. We go over it in all the videos, but just in case it's the first or only video you're watching, we'll go over it for this one. So we have your arcane magics, and then you have your spells, your magical projectiles. Basically what it is, you can kind of think of these, but you can think of this as a bow and arrow, but the damage is not calculated the same as a bow and arrow. Just so we can not get confused, because I know bows and arrows are kind of calculated weird when it does damage. But essentially, these are your bows right here. Now, you're only going to craft one of these. Arcane Magic 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In order to make Arcane Magic 2, you actually need one as an ingredient. So as you level these up, you're only going to have the highest one you can currently make, as long as you've made it, obviously. So eventually, you're only going to have Arcane Magic 5. Now, you could craft all these. You would have to craft each one of these multiple times to get all of them, but there's no reason. You wouldn't take a regular bow, an exceptional bow, and then a flawless bow. You would just keep the flawless bow. Same thing. So you're just gonna Arcane Magic 5. Now, these are the arrows. When you use these, that's why I have 1,000 here. I obviously spawn those in. When you use these, they're actually going to use like arrows. They're going to disappear, count down, and you can't get it back. Now, just like arrows and bows, you drag it onto the bow you want to use. So as I see, I can drag it there. I want to use this spell now. You just drag it there. Now, if you don't like dragging or dropping, or there's a couple spells you want to use, I mean, you could craft like 2 Arcane Magic 5s if you're at that level, and then have, one spell equipped in each. I think it's just easier to, especially if you're going to use a bunch of the magics, you're probably going to use at least 2 or 3 of the magics, I would assume. So you're already going to be taking up like 2 or 3 slots. Now, the way the damage is calculated is you basically just take these stat numbers and you add it to these stat numbers. That's for the light attack, the first attack. So, for example, Arcane Magic 1, 35 damage, 0 pen. Arcane Bolt, 50 damage, 14 armor pen. So we add the armor penetration, and we're going to get 14% armor penetration, and then we're going to add the damage, and that's going to be 85 damage per hit base. Now, that's the base numbers. As far as increasing the base numbers, and obviously you can't do this in the vanilla game. I just did this for the sake of the video, just to test everything out max. But accuracy does increase attack magic damage. So the higher your attacker's accuracy number, the more the increase on that base number. But your base number is basically this plus this. Okay, so our first spell is going to be Arcane Bolt. This is the first spell you get at level 60. Pretty decent damage, pretty nice armor penetration, which is pretty high for the magics. As far as Arcane Magic, it gives an arcane burn. So basically it's a burn debuff. It's just an arcane burn. It's got its own special name and stuff like that. Well, let's show it. And in some of the previous videos, I've been showing these spells at nighttime. This one is very, very bright. So at night, it's really, really hard to see anything. So I'm going to do this one at daytime. Probably help if I can actually hit the guys. Okay, so apparently my aim just stinks. There we go. There's a nice little number. As you can see the little symbol for the arcane burn right there. Now, these are light attacks. One of the things made in last weekend's patch, is the light attacks have been changed. So in the previous videos, you probably saw I was doing 5 attacks. This one, now the attacks there's 3 of them, and that's it. Now, the cool thing about it is, and they all cast from your left hand, so it's kind of like your right hand's guiding it, even though your right hand's pushing forward. So that's how the animation's supposed to look. I kind of like it. I think it feels more like you're casting magic instead of doing some weird dance. It's a little easier. The camera's not spinning, which doesn't jiggle the camera when you spin around your character. So it's a little easier to aim. I haven't really used it that much, but I was doing hits there. So obviously I just suck at aiming. Now, the cool thing about the change to the light attack is there is a damage multiplier every time you do a combo. So the stamina drain increases, so you are going to drain more stamina when you do if you do like the third of the combos, you're going to drain more stamina than you will on the first. However, the first attack, that one, does ×1 damage, so it's just base damage. The second one, which is that one, does 1.15 damage increase. So you get a slight damage increase. Now, the next one goes up the same amount. So the third one, which is that one, does 1.30 or 1.3 damage times. So it increases it by 1.3. So you're doing a slight amount of, you're doing a little heavier of a damage as you do the combos, which gives you more incentive to actually do the combos instead of just spamming the first one. However, you are going to drain stamina. Can't talk apparently this morning, need more coffee. You are going to drain stamina a little bit more, so just make sure you're aware of that when you're doing your spells. Now, this applies to all the magics, light attacks, so that's been changed. I think it's actually I think it's a very positive change in my opinion. Like I said, I like how you're not spinning as much. The camera's easier to control. The spells actually hit the same spot now. If I don't move the camera, they're pretty much all in the same area, whereas if you saw in the previous videos, like the first 4 would hit there, and then the 5th one would hit like over here. So they were like spread apart, so you had to use your lock-on. This one, you don't have to as much. The next one we're going to go over is Disruption, which is going to be the next and the last spell that you're going to get by default in the Arcane Magic series. This one's an area effect, so a little cooler. As you can see, let's hit it between these guys. There you go. As you can see, I hit both of them. And that's Arcane Magic 1. Let's do it with level 5 real quick. As you can see, a little bit higher numbers, not too crazy. Depending on how close you are to it, depends on how much damage it's doing too. As you can see, these guys were getting hit a little harder than these guys. And the last of the spells for the Arcane Magic is one of the hidden magics. You actually have to find it out in the world. And this one, just like the Tome, is a little more complicated to get. Not really complicated, but just a little bit more of a process. But the good thing is you don't have to get it once. So we have to actually, the Arcane Fire, which is the last, or the hidden spell for the Arcane Magic, you actually have to get in the Wine Cellar dungeon, which is the newest, at the time of recording this video, the newest dungeon added to the vanilla game. So we're right here at the Insepa Maru, which I'll show you. Right over here. We're going to scroll in a little bit, and basically where you're at is that actually, I don't think that's actually where I'm standing, but maybe it is. You're right here by the water side. It's this weird looking lake or whatever you want to call it. You're going to be facing this way, and you're right here at the little tavern that has Conan. If we wrap around the back side of it, which is this is that little lake right here. And right here is the entrance to the wine cellar. Now, again, we're not going to go through the wine cellar. This one's a little more easier than the Midnight Grove in the fact that you just follow it. Just follow it straight. The tome that you're going to, or whatever, obelisk or whatever you're going to click to learn it, I think it's a book, is at the end. So just follow it all the way to the end boss. Before you get to the end boss, that's where the tome is. We'll show it in 2 seconds. Okay, so we're at the very end of the dungeon. We just came through the front doors right here from the outside. And right, if you go through this door, this is where you're going to fight the boss. Don't go through this because it actually seals off so you can't get out. What you're going to do is you're going to go up these steps to the left or right. Doesn't matter. Both of them take you to the same place. And you go up to the next platform. and you're gonna go to, if your back is to the dungeon floor right there, or actually we'll just do it this way. If you're facing the dungeon, the fighting arena, go left, and right here is a little tome, book, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of dark, it's really hard to see, but it's right there. You click on it, and we now have Harnessed Fire. So another little set of lore, a little bit of information of what the spell does and all that fun stuff. Okay, so the Arcane Fire is the hidden spell that we just learned right here, as you can see. Another decent spell, another area effect. Let's equip Arcane Magic 1 with the spell on there. It's a little bit of a... This one's super bright. This is actually the main one. Why the reason I didn't do this at nighttime, because it's super bright as it is. It's not crazy bright at night, but for sake of seeing the guys I'm shooting at too like that. And that's with the fifth one, obviously, I missed. Now, even though they're in the flames, you kind of have to hit it within a certain distance of them. It's the initial impact. It'd be nice if the flames could keep burning them, but it's just. But as you can see, I hit 3 guys, right? Or was it 2 or 3? Either way, it doesn't matter. But it does a good amount of damage. And the last thing to go over is the heavy attack. So we've been doing the light attacks with the magic. Also, I forgot to mention in this video, when you equip the magic, it's kind of cool because you get the glowy hands, and then you get like the eye color of whatever the spell is. I like the animation with it's like a glowing ball that radiates these little embers, and then it has little lightning in it too. So I kind of like the animation of the magic in your hands when you have it equipped. I think this one's one of the cooler ones that does that. The fire one's pretty cool. I think this is probably the best one though. Now, the heavy damage, this was changed since the fire and earth videos. I think the air video, I went over the change with the new stats. I do need to type those numbers in there, so I'll do that after I record this video. But I'll put the stats in the change in the fire and earth magic videos for the heavy attack. But either way, the way the heavy attack works is it doesn't matter which of these you equip. And it doesn't matter what spell you have equipped in there. The actual attack itself is exactly the same. The only difference is the amount of damage. So if you're doing a heavy attack when you have Air Magic 1 equipped, it's 30 damage. If you have it when you have Arcane Magic 5, it's 170. So 30, 50 for 2, 90 for 3, 130 for 4, and 170 for 5. Now that's per blast. When you do the heavy attack, you're gonna get multiple blasts. The damage numbers are different for every magic tier, and the amount of blasts they do are actually different too. I think Arcane Magic, if I remember right, has one of the higher amounts. I can't remember if it has one of the higher amounts. I'm pretty sure it does. Or maybe it was Air Magic that has one of the higher amounts. We're gonna find out in about 2 seconds. Either way, let's take a look at it. Let's do it from from the vanity cam a little farther out. We'll do it this way, and we'll see how many blasts it have. So actually not too many, a good amount, but not a crazy amount. Turn the volume down a little bit on that. And now let's do it with Arcane Magic 5. So as you can see, there's a big difference between Arcane Magic 1 and Arcane Magic 5. The cool thing about Arcane Magic also is that Arcane Magic does an initial blast. It doesn't always do it sometimes, I've noticed, but see how it does that first hit. A lot of the other spells that you do this wind up and then you do the blast. So there's a small amount of time you can be getting with one of the ones. I can't remember. I think it's Earth Magic. There's actually a good amount of time that enemies can be attacking you while you're doing the initial casting. Arcane Magic's kind of nice because it actually does a first blast and then it's pretty short to the second. Or first blast right away and then a pretty short amount to the second. So you have a little bit of, maybe a little bit more protection if you're actively fighting when you want to use it. But kind of cool. Okay, so that was the Arcane Magic video. We have one more left, the Blood Magic. This is the one that was most requested. Of course, it's the one you need to be the highest level to get. So that will be the next video coming out. We also have a couple other videos already recorded, and I'm currently working on a couple surprises, a couple things that have been asked for a lot. And then I'll be attempting to work on the most recent patch video. I know everybody loves the patch videos, or a lot of you do, and they're this one had a lot of changes to the most recent patch. So I'm going to try to get that one out to you. That one's a little bit more complicated because it's a lot of information. So it might be hard to get out in just one video, but we'll try it. But stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to get notified when all the videos that I plan on releasing get released the second they get released. Also, if you enjoy the video, definitely hit that like button. It helps out the channel a lot. Also, feel free to leave any comments, concerns, suggestions, anything, whatever. In the comment section below. I do read the comments. It takes me a little while to get back to it sometimes, just because I have a lot going on, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. However, I do read the comments, so I appreciate everybody that's leaving the comments, whether it's comments, criticisms, or whatever. So thank you so much. Also, I want to give a shout out to our Patreon crew and our elite Patreon crew. Thank you so much for the extra level support. I really do appreciate you all. It definitely helps out the channel. Also, if you're interested in joining our elite Patreon, definitely check out the link in the description below. We have a couple cool unlocks, exclusive videos coming out early. You get access to exclusive videos earlier, and a couple of really cool things, as well as some goals that we can unlock. Also, we stream on Twitch, so check out that link in the description below if you want to check out the channel there. And we have an amazing Discord channel with a couple of us Discord communities and Conan servers. If you're interested in that, check out that in the description below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, fear the reckoning.